Okay, all right. So I was really intrigued by these couple questions to start off with. What do you need to consider as an improviser that may not occur to other people you play with? And also, what would you like to say to people who want to be better friends and allies? And these are really two really key questions that hearken to the work that I do as an equity and inclusion practitioner. I've been in that field for 30 years, and what strikes me is that, yes, the improv community is a much kinder, gentler community than general population in the United States, I would say. And at the same time, we really can't hide behind that. We really can't hide behind the fact that we might be more progressive than other convenings or gatherings of people. We have to remember that we're still part of a country where both implicit and explicit racism and oppression and barriers exist. And we are in a 531-year legacy of that oppression and that racism. And so it's really important to remember that that seeps into other environments, including an environment that might consider itself to be more progressive and more welcoming. And so to always remember and be self-reflective in that as individuals and also as communities of improvisers, we need to really be reflective and think about our attitudes, our actions, and our behaviors, because we are a reflection of the society. And if you grew up in this country, especially during your formative years, you were fed messages that dehumanized, in particular, Black and brown people. I consider myself part of the Black community. And so those messages I do observe, feel, regard every day. And so once again, that reflection piece is critical. So we understand how those messages that might be very subtle, that might be very subliminal, how those messages impact our actions day in and day out. So we have to be a part of the reconciliation of this 531 years of colonization, of oppression, of racism, of discrimination that started with genocide, moved into enslavement, and all the way up to where we are today with many of the ills that we are still experiencing as Black people or Black and brown people and people of color. So just always remembering that we, as a community of improvisers, we're not immune. We are not immune to any of this history and this legacy that's been put upon us, that burdens everybody. So just always remembering that each of us can be, we can use our superpowers in improv for the good, or we can fall prey to this legacy that still haunts us today. So that's what I have to say about just speaking to the improv community. It's just really understanding that we are not immune, and we can't hide behind our kinder, gentler way of doing things. We've got to continue to grow in our relationships and in our work, and that's what's going to help us better diversify and create spaces of true belonging. If I could change one thing about the improv community, what would that be? It really relates to what I just said. And that is that we not, once again, hide behind that which bonds us together in our way of being more in community with each other, connecting with each other, in relationship with each other, building trust, that even in those environments, there are people and groups of people and communities of people that can still be excluded, and that can happen without our community being really conscious of that. So I think that would be one thing I would change, is just sort of speaking related to the first two questions is to really be truthful, about who we are, where we came from, and we're not perfect in this. And we need to continue to grow, and we need to continue to educate ourselves, and be, once again, self-reflective in that process. So what would I like to say to other members of my community outside of improv who are entering the improv community? Don't give up. Understand that your value and your worth needs to come from within you. And do not come into improv seeking approval. And once again, I'll go back to being a kinder, gentler gathering and convening of people, yet there are still ways that groups and communities, especially those that have already become cohesive, can exclude and be exclusive. So seek out your opportunities. Know that if something doesn't come through, there's going to be something else. Don't get desperate. Be where you are valued. Be where you are welcomed. Be where you can grow. And that may not be every space in this town in Portland. Gravitate towards what fulfills you, where you feel like you are getting support, and where you feel like you can grow. And always remember that you have more than one chance. Sometimes in this arena, it's like I'm on stage, I'm on the field, or wherever you might call where you are moving from, to be part of a process, to be entertaining an audience of people. Understand that we all make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes might feel amplified if you are a Black or brown person, and once again, I'm only speaking from that perspective. But just remember that if one chance didn't pan out, there's always another chance. Make your own chances, make your own opportunities. Don't be where you're not thriving. And most definitely learn your craft. Learn how to be better at what you do. And know that if one opportunity doesn't pan out, there will be another one. And we have to be our own liberators. Okay, these spaces are not going to liberate us unless we're coming in here with a sense of value and worth. Do not use these environments to create that. Do that elsewhere, and then bring that into these environments, because you could end up getting yourself somewhat demoralized and demolished. Because it's once again, we have a community of people that are working together, but there's not always stage time for everybody all the time. So there is this sense of competition at times. So anyway, just please know your worth, know your value, liberate yourself.